you'll be doing more next week during Atlanta, I guess, Film Festival.
Yes. Hopefully, I'll have some time on the red carpet with David Gordon Green and trying to get a phone interview with him as well.
If you talk to David Gordon Green, if you talk to him, you got to ask him about working with Pacino and Manglehorn.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, I will. So I think I'll have a few more interesting stories to tell next week, where I'll be reporting from the film festival.
And Jerry, where will you be reporting from next week?
No, hopefully just here. I will not be at the film festival, thankfully. But yeah.
All right. So, what have you guys seen this past week?
Well, I've been going through movies for the Atlanta Film Festival. I've been given screeners for a lot of the features and that are going to be there. And it's as far as the narratives go, the two big ones that I love, there's a film out of New York City called The Foxy Merkins, which is a comedy about a lesbian prostitute, two lesbian prostitutes, and it's kind of it makes references here and there to Midnight Cowboy that are pretty funny. So there's a scene in a theater where one of the prostitutes is serving one of her tricks, and there's a scene where one of them slaps the hood of a oncoming taxi cab and stuff like that. They don't go too overboard with the Midnight Cowboy thing. This is really more along the lines of like a kind of a sweeter, gentler John Waters movie, I would say, with a New York flair and lots of great location work and stuff like that. Terrific lead performances from Lisa Haas and Jackie Monahan, who co-wrote the screenplay with Madeline Olnick, who's the director, and just a really, really terrific, funny movie. I mean, I can't wait to see it with an audience. And the star Lisa Haas, who plays the sort of reluctant prostitute, the sort of Joe Buck of the movie in a way. She's going to be there at the festival next Thursday, so I hope to get an interview with her. But I also saw like a really wonderful romantic comedy, and actually funny and romantic comedy called Forever. It's like Forever with the ER left off of it, and it's about two people living in the same apartment building who barely know each other, a man and a woman who, just brush past each other occasionally, just acquaintances really. And they meet one day and hang out, and they joke about getting married. Hey, let's get married, and they kind of joke about it and everything, but then they start to kind of take it seriously and say, what if we did get married? I mean, we get along and stuff. So anyway, it's a really sweet, very funny film out of Arizona. Two Arizona filmmakers. I don't have their names at the ready here, but a man and a woman made this. And anyway, it's really terrific. It feels like Bottle Rocket a little bit. Like
when does that festival start? Starts Monday, you said, or when?
It starts Friday, March 28th, okay, and goes to Sunday, April 6th. Okay, and they're going to be having things like Dear White People, which was a big hit at Sundance, and Belle, that costume drama that's coming out soon, and the new Bill Plimpton movie, animated movie, is going to be there, and also La Congress by Ari Folman, the guy who made Waltz with Bashir. Here's another thing I want to bring up in terms of documentaries. At Berkeley, I would love to see At Berkeley. That aired like one time on PBS, and it's impossible to find now. I haven't been able to find it anywhere, so I could actually watch it. There you go. I know it's so hard to find any of those Frederick Wiseman movies. Very difficult to find.
But this one just came out.
I know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Also, you're getting
like
the
a
Congress.
long-lost friend.
The Congress is coming to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Well, that's been done. That's been around for a while, and it's just that's a complaint I have. I thought that would have been out sometime last year, but they're still doing. Wow, okay. Because that's not a new movie.
Showing for it, yeah.
Let me ask you about this documentary because this weekend it ended that Gasparilla Film Festival that I was on the grand jury of, and so I voted for my favorites. And actually, they're supposed to reveal the winners an hour ago, and I'm waiting to hear the announcement to make sure that the ones I chose won. But they better have. But one of the documentaries, I was judging narrative features, but their documentaries were, one of them was that Cyber Seniors movie, and somebody emailed me about it and said, I'd love to be on your show to talk about it, and blah, blah, blah. And then I read your take on it, Dean, and you said it was a featherlight kind of documentary. And I can imagine that it was, because this is a documentary, if you're picking a topic for a documentary, this is about a bunch of old people trying to learn how to use a computer. That seems about as interesting as, watching flies fuck. I mean, what
I see that. I see that every day. I don't need to see that. I don't need to see a movie. I don't need to pay to see that.
Be interesting about, that.
I mean, when you're watching that film, it's fascinating, watching all of these movies to really see really where the indie film community is at in a lot of ways. We get kind of a fake view of the indie world through what plays at our local landmark theater or whatever, art house cinema or whatever. But
that's being kind, Dean. That's being kind.
but this is really where the indie film scene is at, and yes, Cyber Seniors. I mean, it's difficult to. You don't want to kick it because it's kind of like kicking a puppy or whatever. But I mean, they're sweet old people, and there's a lot of respectable kids trying to teach them and something and everything. It's not particularly illuminating or anything really. It's just
that would be great. That would be like akin to making a documentary about trying to teach your parents how to program a VCR 20 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it sounds. I mean, why? I mean, I just think that's a waste of time. I'm sorry. That's just someone who had nothing. You mean you thought that would be an interesting topic? I mean, come on, please.
I'm sure it's good-natured, and I'm sure he made it because he had access, and he said, let me see where this takes us. And
we all have access to that.
It's a female filmmaker, and she seems very young. And she also makes that mistake of narrating the film herself and stuff, and actually fitting in some things in her own life. It kind of goes to talking about her sister who has cancer, and you're like, okay, well, why is this documentary about? And she uses that to show. She shows her own grandparents being able to connect to her sister who's in another state through Skype, and so that's how they relate it to the documentary. But it's so oh God, I don't know. I don't get this whole thing of we've talked about this on the show with documentary filmmakers fitting themselves into the movie no matter what, either as a narrator or as an on-screen talent or whatever, this whole Michael Morganization of or even Morgan Spurlockization of documentary filmmaking has just gone too far.